Welcome back to episode 15 of Warhammer 40k Imperium, Battle Games in the 41st Millennia. 5 miniatures in this issue, flesh-eating Necrons, the Imperium Sanctus, and Reinforcements playthrough. In this issue, few Necrons are completely sane, but none as utterly deranged as the flesh-eating Flayed ones. In this issue, you'll learn about those horrifying predators before building and painting them, gruesome trophies and all. Then, when they look suitably menacing, you'll ambush the Space Marines in a new playthrough that introduces reinforcements to your game. Happy hobbying. And we have the Flayed ones, the Imperium Sanctus, Chapter Command, a Flayed ones build guide, Flayed ones paint guide, and this week's playthrough, Destroy the Plasmacyte. And of course we have our single sprue with the 5 Necron Flayed ones and the bases that they're going to be put on. Flayed ones, Cursed Flesh Eaters. Flayed ones are monstrous Necrons afflicted with a mysterious curse that compels them to attempt to devour the flesh of the living and take their skin and bones as trophies. Flayer Claws. The bodies of the Flayed ones possess razor-sharp claws, perfect for slicing and fencing living flesh. Flensed Flesh and Bone. Flayed ones adorn their android bodies with the remains of their victims, draping themselves in flayed skin and bone trophies. Talons. Even the feet of the Flayed ones possess deadly talons capable of slicing flesh. The Flayer Virus. Long ago, the Catan known as Landagor, the Flayer, was destroyed by the Necrons. It is said that with his last breath, he cursed the Necron race. The curse resulted in a creeping madness known as the Flayer Virus. Those Necrons afflicted with the virus awaken with a desperate hunger for the warm flesh and blood of the living. Battle Record. Bring your models to life by recording their details in the box below. Designation. Flayed ones are feared not only by their living prey, but by their fellow Necrons, who believe the Flayer virus could be contagious. As the virus takes hold, their bodies are mutated, transforming them into blade-limbed monstrosities. The Flayed ones appear wherever the Necron make war. Mortals who have faced them in battle know them by many names. And we have a D6 chart for that. Skin Takers, Flesh Scourge, Steel Reveners. Viral degradations. The minds of the Flayed ones have been warped and degraded by the curse that afflicts them, and many display strange behaviors, such as scream at the sight of blood, prey on the wounded, run on all 4 limbs. Metallic mutations. Just as their minds are corrupted, the bodies of the Flayed ones are mutated to better serve them as they flay their foes. You have flesh-stripping claws, legs enhanced for sprinting, serrated bone-cutting blades. Trophy Takers. Flayed ones adorn themselves with the flesh, bone, and body parts stripped from the decimated corpses of their victims. And a chart for the trophies. Wear cloaks of human skin. Collect the hands of the dead. Rip out the victim's spines. Flesh Eaters. The Flayed ones seek to devour living flesh and take trophies. Keep track of every unit your Flayed ones slay. Battle Record. As you play games, record your Flayed ones' deeds, victories, shameful defeats, and battle damage below. Examples: slaughtered and devoured a squad of assault intercessors. One lost a bladed hand to the power sword of a Primaris captain. The Imperium Sanctus. This region of the Imperium has survived the opening in the Great Rift largely intact. Here the Astronomicon still shines brightly. In the Age of Nightmares, however, no part of the galaxy is safe. From the Imperium Sanctus, Reboot Gilliman marshals armored forces of mankind to battle the Emperor's foes. Astratus REF 514-311 Sol System, Imperium Sanctus. Report, Imperium Sanctus, Holy Terra. Captain Tor Garadon, Imperial Fist, 3rd Company. Blessed is the Emperor's light, and welcome is its glow. Yet the presence of the Astronomicon means little in the face of so many monstrous foes. Even Holy Terra, protected by the combined might of the Emperor's armies, has seen conflict on our surface. We must be vigilant. We warriors must cast aside the hope and embrace anger. For in this age of terror and despair, the only true constants are war and death. The light of the Astronomicon is generated upon Terra by a vast choir of psychers. Hundreds of these psychers die in agony every day as the efforts burn out their minds. This is a small price to pay to provide a guide by which humanity can navigate the galaxy. It is thanks to the presence of the Astronomicon's light that the Imperium Sanctus continues to function. Throughout the vast region of space, imperial worlds of every sort raise their ties to military manpower and vital resources, sending them forth to bolster the armies of the Astrada Militarum and feed their never-ending hunger of humanity's galactic empire. Space Marines surge from war zone to war zone, battling the deadliest threats to the Emperor's realm. Most vast Imperial Navy fleets engage in intense void battles against stellar invaders. Agents of the Imperial Faith, including the Adeptus Sororitas, bear the word of the Ecclesiary in the battle, purging heretics wherever they can be found. Countless Imperial agents root out traitors and undertake the Emperor's will throughout the Imperium Sanctus, while on Mars and other Forge worlds. The System of Sol. The System of Sol is the birthplace of humanity. Here lies Holy Terra, center of the Emperor's great seat on his golden throne. And Mars, the greatest of the Forge worlds and home of the Adeptus Mechanis. The Sol System is protected by a colossal network of minefields, heavily armored space stations, and vast fleets of starships blistering with weapons. The tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanis craft the technologies and the weapons humanity's armies require to battle their enemies. The Imperium Sanctus is not a well-oiled machine, however. Apostrophic communication between worlds is slow and often inaccurate. Worse still, the bureaucracy by which the Imperial Sanctus is governed is glacially slow and utterly uncaring. The fate of individual worlds barely register on Terra, and the loss of individual life means less than nothing. The living beings of the Imperium are little more than resource, no different to the promethium that fuels its engines. Most of the men and women who populate the Imperium Sanctus are born, live short lives filled with toil and fear, and eventually die of exhaustion. Malnourished, or some industrial disaster, without ever having seen an alien, a heretic, or even a warrior of the Imperium's army. Only those who serve in the Emperor's armed forces have any hope of seeing more of the galaxy. And even then, much of what they witness is horrific. For all its misery and soulless oppression, the worlds of the Imperium Sanctus continue to grind onwards. All the while, praying to the Emperor that one day this nightmare may end. The ignorant consider the Imperium Sanctus safe. To them, I say, look upon the Nephilim sector. Once a bastion of imperial order, is now a pariah nexus. A somber graveyard presides over the soulless Necrons who see humanity as a verminous infestation to be eradicated. Inquisitor Georgina Perexa, Ordo Erectus. The Empire of Ultramar. The Empire of Ultramar is the domain of the Ultramarines, located to the galactic east of Terra. The Empire of Ultramar has seen much conflict in recent times, having been invaded by the traitorous forces of the Death Guard and abandoned the Despoiler's Black Legion. Still, the Ultramarines defend their home world, their home with the characteristics bravery and discipline. Space Marines Chapter Command. Though the Space Marines chapters are highly efficient fighting machines, they must contend with grueling attrition and numerous foes. To succeed, each chapter requires a brilliant leader with sharp minds who live and breathe the arts of war and logistics. Marnus Kelgar, with his honor guard and banner-bearing ancient, leads the Ultramarines against the Tyranids. Though the command structure of each chapter may differ slightly, the majority have a single leader, the Chapter Master. Only the greatest warriors and commanders can ascend to this position. A Chapter Master wields great power and answers to almost no one. Though many worlds may petition him for assistance, it is the Chapter Master alone who is responsible for deciding which wars his chapter will fight. The Chapter Master is assisted in his duties by his Chief Librarian, Chief Apothecary, High Chaplain, and the chapter's highest ranking Tech Marine, the Master of the Forge. These experienced and respected elders, in addition to the captains of the 10 chapter companies, may offer their counsel at times of war. Ultimately, however, it is the Chapter Master who makes the final decision on strategy at the chapter level. Though the chapter's command echelon usually oversees the chapter's battle from afar, they are on occasion called on to fight. Should he take to the field, the Chapter Master does so with an honor guard of elite warriors at his side and one of the chapter's sacred banners, borne aloft by a chapter ancient, billowing above them. The inspirational presence of a Chapter Master and his attendant veterans has turned the tide of many battles and inspired countless heroic victories. Okay, here we have a few of the Chapter Masters. We have Marnus Kelgar of the Ultramarines, Commander Dante of the Blood Angels, Pedro Cantor of the Crimson Fist, Logan Grimnar of the Space Wolves, Kayvon Shrike of the Raven Guard, and High Marshal Halbrecht of the Black Templars. Chapter Masters. Chapter Masters are among the Imperium's greatest and most well-known heroes. They are renowned for their keen military minds and lethal skill at arms. The names of many Chapter Masters are well known across the galaxy, as are their deeds. Without Marinus Calgar's leadership, the realm of Ultimar would doubtless have been overrun by the tyranids of High Fleet Behemoth. Logan Grimnar's actions at the Cadian Gate, meanwhile, surely prevented more of the Cadian system from falling into the hands of the Dark Gods. The title of Chapter Master is not used by every Space Marine chapter. Variations include the Space Wolves Great Wolf, the Dark Angels Supreme Grand Master, and the Blood Angels Commander, and the Black Templars High Marshal. Now, these ranks all hold the same importance and responsibilities as that of Chapter Master, and they can only be held by those who embody the chapter's ideals. Upon my shoulders rests the burden of command. The fate of the world lies in these hands. Yet this is a responsibility I gladly embrace. For I live to serve the Emperor. To wield the power in his name and is an honor, and one that I shall never take for granted. It is my hope that under my leadership the Silver Templars shall know only victory, and our legacy shall be writ large across the stars. Achilleos Zarnus, Chapter Master of the Silver Templars. The Honor Guard. The Honor Guard is made up of the chapter's greatest warriors. They answer to none but the Chapter Master himself and are responsible for his security at all times, whether it is in the safety of their own worlds or in the heat of battle. They also serve as advisors, lending their experience and critiquing the battle plans in order to prevent arrogance and complacency from clouding their commander's mind. They are also responsible for the chapter's banners and standards, a sacred task. Some honor guards contain a chapter champion, a superlative warrior with no equal amongst his kin. Thanks to their esteemed position, all members of the Honor Guard are armed and armored with the chapter's finest war gear. Okay, now on to the Flayed Ones build guide. How to build Flayed Ones. This guide shows you how to assemble your new Flayed One models. Carefully follow this guide, paying close attention to the images and instructions as you do so. These models are quite fragile and difficult to assemble, so read through all of these tips before you begin. Clipping. To clip the components from the sprue, place the flat of the blades next to the component you need and gently but firmly cut the plastic. Clip the joints closest to the end of the claws and talons first. This will avoid putting tension on these fragile components, which may cause them to break. Dry fit components before applying glue, as the exact position and orientation of some of the components is not always obvious. Claws. Be especially careful and do not apply too much glue to the hands and claws. If the glue is allowed to spill on these details, it can melt and obscure them. If the glue does spill and begin to pool on the hands, carefully use the corner of a paper towel to soak away excess before it dries. The shoulder. When gluing the shoulder into place, hold them into position as the glue begins to dry. This should help ensure they dry in the correct position. Okay. Alright, step 1, dry fit and glue the two arms into position, and then glue the chest into place to secure the arms. When it is dried, glue the spine and hands into place. Okay, so let's see, we got 1, 2, and 4. Okay, there's 2. There's 4. And there's 1. So we got the body and arms. And one of those sprue marks is right on the flesh there. And the other one right here on his leg joint. And it looks like we got a little bit on one of his claws here too. That's going to be fun. Try and keep things in frame a little better this time. Last week seemed like half of it was, you know, just off frame. Try and keep more of a conscious effort on that. Okay. So this one is 2. That don't look right. And this one. So that just fits in like that. Oh, this is gonna suck to paint. Yeah, these are going to be worse than the Necron Warriors. So, but we'll get through it. Hope there aren't too many of these guys coming. Okay, just gonna hold that a second to. There we go. Okay, now his other arm. almost down at his side. I'm not quite sure how that goes in. It don't go like... Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely having trouble getting this arm in there. That is number 2, right? Yeah, that is number 2. It is the right arm. It's the right body. The arm is supposed to be out like that. There we go. Yes. I think that's right. We'll find out when we put the chest on, which is 7. 12, 9, 8. There it is. Oh man, this one. Yeah, I guess that's right. Alright. So we want glue on the shoulder joints here and the peg there. Oh my god. There we go. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, now we have the claws, which are 3 and 5, which are these 2 right here. And the spine, which is 6. Okay. And spine. Okay, just come around like that. Okay. So, glue down here. And just go to the back. Try to line it up with the rest of the spine. Oh, that damn iron. Damn it. Oh god, I'm already not liking these guys. I'm going to let that spine dry, so I'm not knocking it around while I'm removing the chest to put in the arm back in. So just cut out the rest here, which is 9 and 10, which are the legs. There's 10 and 9. On his knee here. Now, since these ones don't have pegs, you want to make sure you get the bottom of the feet really good, because that's what they'll be standing on the base. Alright. How's that spine doing? Oh my god, it's still not dry. Let's see if we can get this chest off here. There we go. That wasn't too hard, actually. Alright, make sure we get it glued in really good this time. So, God, I don't know why that spine won't dry. Oh my God. I don't know why this is such a horrible fit. Come on. Yeah, I'm getting dried glue all over the place. Alright, there we go. Alright. Let's try this again. Oh, come on. looks about right. Oh my god. That is not fun. Alright, let's see how the legs are going to go on here. Hey, it says you may need to hold the legs in the position for a few seconds as the glue begins to dry. Glue the head into place. Okay, but there's no... doesn't really give you any kind of indication as to how these legs go on. I guess we just glue him on and then glue him in the base and then hold him so that he's upright. It's seems like kind of an inefficient way to do it, but glue on. Oh my god. Oh, I do not like these legs. Oh my god. Oh, this is bad. So I guess you can go like that. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna let those dry for a little bit, and then I'm gonna set him on the base. That. Guy's definitely more fragile than the Necron Warriors, I'll tell you that. Okay, it looks like he is stable there. So let's grab head number 8. Should be around there. It is. Okay. And it looks like the head is going to go on a little piece sticking out of his spine. Just going to go right in there. Okay. Too much in there. Oh god. Okay, their head's on. And now the claws are... Okay, that's like one. Okay, there's one side. And the other side here. There we go. Okay, there is one finished Flayed one. And I'm going to set him aside, do up the other 4, and come back. Okay, the Flayed ones are primed. Actually, if you saw the last video, you'll see I ran out of primer doing the armored container. And instead of getting a new bottle of that, or a can rather, I was going to, but it was like $16 or $17 for a 6-ounce can. So I did a little looking around online, and a lot of people just use regular paint primer, spray primer. And the one they seem to recommend is this right here. It's a Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch 2X covered ultra cover, flat gray, and down here it says for wood, metal, plastic, and more. That's between $6 and $7 depending on where you get it, and it's a 12-ounce can as opposed to a 6-ounce can, so much better value there, and I'm happy with the results. They look good. It's a little darker than the other primer I had, but it's just a primer. It's going to get painted over, so that doesn't affect me at all. So let's get to the paint guide here. It's how to paint Flayed ones. This guide shows you how to paint your new Flayed ones, gather your paints and painting equipment, and set up your painting area before you begin to follow the guide, which I've already done that. And first, I got 3 coats of Runelord Brass. Thin your paints to 4 parts paint to 1 part water, and apply 3 coats. Let each coat dry before applying the next. Now, I'm going to modify that a little bit, because metallics are a pain to paint over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick out all the areas that aren't painted over with the Runelord Brass, and then I'll go through and apply the other colors. So, and I'll be using the finished gallery as a guide to where I need to paint. So, get my starter brush here, since I will be doing a base coat. And got Runelord Brass here somewhere. There it is. Sure it's shaking up really good. Get that soap off the brush. Okay, and get a napkin here to get any excess off. Two, three, 4 parts paint. And 1 part water. Okay, now okay, I'll be right around here. Alright, so I just want to get what's gonna be Rune Lord Brass at the end, which are his hands here. And he's got some skin over his arm there. And these are going to be interesting to paint. It's not like the Necron Warriors where I can just, disassemble and to get where I need to get at. These guys are pretty intricate compared to the Warriors. So, and they also need to be glued together, so you couldn't even take them apart if you wanted to. I mean, I suppose you could just do it in sub-assemblies, which is normally how I like to do it, but I'm kind of testing my skills here, trying to get better at it, and got a loose hip joint there. I have to take care of that before I move on. Okay, so we got his hands there. And then we got the armored pieces on the arms. And like I say, you got that arm draped, that human arm draped over his arm there. So that obviously is not going to be Rune Lord Brass. Bunch of flesh hanging over him. And if I get a little bit of paint on the fleshy parts, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I can paint over it, but I'm just trying to limit how much is getting painted over, because it's just a pain for the next coat going over it. I mean, you're seeing it goes on like water after that, so. So I want to make sure on the parts that are getting Rune Lord Brass, you want to get into the recesses. And try to get under that skin as much as possible. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to glue that leg back on. I had that happen with one of the other guys too. Just these are the way those hip joints are. You know, there's really not a whole lot of indication of exactly what position you're supposed to glue the legs in. So you have to kind of get it in there. I just put like, you know, a glob of paint on, or paint, of glue on each hip joint, put his legs in place and held them for a couple seconds, just enough so that they wouldn't fall off as soon as I let go. And then I put a little bit on their feet, put them on the base, and then just kind of held it by holding the feet down and holding the legs in at the hips, you know, until everything was sitting good, and then let it dry. But some of them came out. Like I said, I already had to fix one, and now this guy, so got a feeling gonna have more repairs there. So, but it is what it is. So. I mean, I guess the theory behind doing the Rune Lord brass for the whole base coat, so that you don't miss any areas, I guess, but I'm not a fan of it. So the parts that are going to be Rune Lord brass, like I said, are the armor plating on the arms and legs, the chest, the backs of the hands, the tops of the feet. I think I might have actually painted a little too much of the hands there. I think because I painted the insides of the hands, I think that might be black. But like I said, I'll match it up with the finished gallery. And if I screwed up, I screwed up. It happens. And I'm getting a lot over on other pieces here. And like the Necron Warriors, these guys too, some of them have missing armor plating. Not sure if their heels are Rune Lord brass. Check that real quick. No, it looks like their heels are just black. Yeah. The individual fingers before the blades start are black, so that's all gonna have to be painted over. It looks like Yeah, that piece right there from the wrist to the fingers. It looks like it's only the top of it. So I got a little too much there, but okay, and that's all flesh. Okay, and I believe all the pelvis and the hips is all black. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like that's it for the Runelord brass on him. Let's go ahead and do the other ones. And then I'll come back with the next color. Okay, the Runelord brass has been applied. Now we're going to move on to Abaddon Black. Okay. See, paint the joints beneath the armor plates. Be careful not to miss areas hidden beneath the skin and trophies. Use the tip of your brush when painting the spine. This will help you avoid the armor plates on either side. Paint the elbow, forearm, and finger joints. Be careful to avoid the armored plates and the claws on the hands. Carefully paint the ankh of the Triarch symbol, which appears on the chest plate of each of the flayed ones. Okay, so gonna need our Abaddon Black and see here. I'm gonna get a number 1 for the larger areas. And for the smaller areas, I'm going to go with a 000. And again, it doesn't specify the ratio. So we're going with the 3-in-1. 1, 2, 3. You know what? Nah, I'm gonna go with 4-in-1. Okay. Okay, that'll be it for that brush for right now. All right, and we'll start again with this guy here. And yeah, I think we'll go with the bigger brush first. One thing about these brushes is they do collect a lot of water. So if you're using brushes like this, you definitely want to wipe them off on a towel before you start painting. Otherwise, your paint's gonna be very watery. some of those areas that I missed on. I'm not too worried about getting that inside of those plates, because those haven't even been painted yet. So, and I know they're going to be that Neptic alloy. So, but I said that normal paint doesn't. It's kind of a pain to cover over metallic. When you're doing metallic over normal paint, not so bad. So, not too concerned. I just want to go back and hit those areas where I did get Runelord brass again. Just make sure it covers good. Now that is flush, so yeah, definitely have to do a lot of maneuvering with this guy. Well, with all of them in general. It's just hard to get in certain places. This guy's not so bad because he's got his arms out, so most of his body is exposed. Makes the paint a little bit easier. And then once I get to the areas like the elbow joints, the hands, and things like that, I'm gonna switch it to the 000, so I'm not making a mess. But for all this right here, it's pretty big surface area, so not too worried. What I do want to do though is kind of go down along the spine here, try and get the bottom of it. I'm going to paint the back of the head, which I think I still have some Necron warriors where the back of the head is not black. But we'll get to those eventually. Okay, getting the neck is going to be difficult. I think I need to glue his head to that piston there. It's got a little bit of a gap. Okay, I think that's good. Get the inside joints of the shoulders. And make sure you get the pelvis area here. And the inside of the spine. Alright. Okay, I think that's good enough to switch to the 000. Okay, you can see a little bit of his shoulder joint here. It's good enough. Probably should have went with the 4-to-1. Or I did go with the 4-to-1, didn't I? Still seems a little thin. Okay, there's one elbow joint. And that's all flesh, so that's not going to be painted. What is that? Is that something that stuck onto it while I was priming it? Yeah, it must be. Damn. Yeah, we'll just say that's a rip in the flesh or something. Damn it. I think I just screwed up the Runelord breast there. Which is why I did not put those paints away just yet. Oh man. This is probably the biggest pain right here. Okay, look over here, see, yeah, kind of pick out where the flesh ends and just paint around it. This guy's got a whole arm hanging off his arm. Looks like just the last two fingers of it. It's like the index, middle finger, and thumb have been ripped off or cut off. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be painted Lead Belcher, but we can get it anyways. Same on this side. Yeah, I'm already not a fan of the Necrons. And they look cool and all, but so very much a pain to paint. Okay, now just these fingers are black. That's part of the blade. Now, not a very good view of exactly where that Rune Lord brass ends on the inside of the hands. So, I think what I'll do is just go to there. I mean, how many people are going to be looking at the inside of the hands, anyways? That looks good. Okay, shoot. I'm gonna have to try and get inside of that body later. Which that was the problem I was having with the Necron Warriors. You get them together, get them all painted, and then you see this patch of just primed plastic inside the chest. Not a very good look. So I think I'll just end up taking that number 1 brush and just going in there and making a big mess, and then touching up with Rune Lord brass. I think that's pretty much the only option. At least at my skill level. Okay, now around here, this top is black. And that comes down to here. And the heel and the back of the foot are black as well. Yeah, there's some more rune lord bracelets that have to be touched up. Hey. But it happens. You make a mistake and you cover it up. And the toes are black as well. And that talon is going to be lead belcher, I'm sure. Okay. This guy is almost done with his first coat. Minus the screw-ups I made. I'm just going to get this little hinge here. Okay. And there we go. Didn't get that very good. Okay, and just take one last look around, see if there's anything else I missed. Oh, I missed his elbow there. This is why you double check. Can't tell you how many times I was doing the base coat and realized I didn't get a hand or something. All right. Now the unk on his chest, and he should be done. There we go. Okay. First coat there is done. Go finish up these other guys. And we've gotten the bed and black on. And there are some parts, obviously, that are going to need to be touched up. But that's good as it needs to be for now. So, move on to the next color, which is Corax White. It says paint the strips of flesh hanging from the flayed ones' bodies with 3 coats of thin Corax White. Okay, each flayed one has several strips of flayed skin dangling from their bodies, limbs, and faces. Make sure you paint them all with Corax White. Okay, some areas may be hard to reach. Turn the model over so that you can work the tip of your brush into the recesses. Paint towards yourself at all times. Paint the several hands hanging from this flayed one's bladed limbs. Use the tip of your brush to carefully paint the area, avoiding the claws underneath. When you have painted all the flayed one's skin, collect a small amount of Corax White paint on your brush and very carefully paint the flayed one's eyes. Okay. So we got Corax White here. And we'll start with this guy. All right. Get the paint mixed up and ready to go. And I'm assume we're doing 2 parts paint to 1 part water. One, 2, and 3. And actually, I'm going to do double because I'm going to be using a lot of paint here. So we're going to do 6 parts paint to 2 parts water. There's 1 part water. And 2 parts water. All right. Now we're going to start with the number 1 brush. All right. Make a little broom here. All right. So we'll start on this back here. It's got all the skin that's hanging down off his back. Ah, crap. Yeah, there's some more touch-up I need. And I'm trying not to get it on the Rimlord brass, but okay, now up here I don't need to be as careful because that's going to be painted with the Knaptic alloy. I think looks like the flesh ends right here. And there's a little raised lip there. And also this piece coming down along his body is flush too. That looks good. And first gotta get the inside of it. Going right up to his body. And that inside lip there. And this piece here actually goes around the top and inside the shoulder pad there. Gotta hope there aren't too many of these guys in the set. Because this is a little bit of a pain. Alright, got that side. You can't quite tell if that's all flesh or look at the finish gallery for that. No, okay, that's all alloy, so I don't have to worry about that shoulder pad. I got this all along here. These guys are hard to keep a hold of, that's for sure. So I just want to do the outline to minimize the amount of touch-up I'm going to have to do later on. And then go back and fill it all in. There's something stuck on there. Oh, there it goes, starting to come off. Looks like it might be a brush hair or something. Whatever it is, it's not wanting to come off. Alright, I'm gonna have to get that scraper tool, see if I can get that off there. It's gonna annoy the hell out of me. I think I got it. Yeah, it looks good. You also want to make sure you get the little spike here that's holding the skin onto the metal. There we go. And he's got some on his forearm here. Yeah, I can't tell where that starts. Looks like it goes like this. Hmm. I think that looks about right. Okay. Now, according to the gallery here, looks like it goes like that. And that part is... No. I stand corrected. That is flesh. how much of it is flesh on the side there. It doesn't really give a good angle of it. Yeah, it doesn't really. Save this. Yeah, looks good. Now try carefully to get the backs of these fingers without getting the hands. Well, I guess that's as good as that's getting. And it's got some more skin here. It just comes up around his head. Yeah, it's really pain to get at. Okay, I believe that is all the flesh on him. Let's see if I can get these eyes here. Oh, does he have skin on his face? Yeah, he's got quite a bit of skin on his face here. Okay, it looks like this right here. It's up around there. You can't tell if it goes over his eye there or not. Hmm. It looks like that whole side is flush. It does come down around his chin here. Yeah, it's not always clear where the skin ends. So, hmm. Okay, I think that is it for him. Now he's got a little bit of a little trail from the skin here. Okay, well, that's that. Get the rest of these guys painted up here. And I'll be back for the next color. Okay, the flesh has been painted. Now, we are on to Lead Belcher. And it says use Lead Belcher to paint all the Flayed one's claws. Paint all the way to the base of the claw, but leave the hands themselves black. Some of the Flayed ones have curved talons on their feet. Paint these talons. Refer to the gallery of images at the end of the guide if you need help. It says find and paint all the exposed pistons on the Flayed one's bodies. Use the gallery at the end of the paint guide if you need help finding them all. Make sure you paint all the pistons on the Flayed one's legs and necks. Use the gallery of finished models at the end of the paint guide if you need help. Look for the torn or damaged armor, particularly on the heads. Paint the exposed wiring and details beneath with, with a little Lead Belcher. Okay. Now first, get my glove back on. So I don't make a complete mess of all this paint. And since this is metallic paint, I won't be using the hair brushes. I'll be using some synthetic brushes. We have a 0 and a 4-0. I'll be mostly forgetting those pistons and those smaller details. And again, we're going to start with this guy right here. Mix up a little Lead Belcher. I believe Lead Belcher is a 4-1. So that's what we're going to go with. One, two, three, and four. A little water in there. Okay, paint is ready to go. Alright, I'm going to start with the zero brush. And this one's got really long bristles too, which is bonus. Alright, and when they say that these sculpts are delicate, they're not kidding. I've broken at least 3 of these claws. And of course I've glued them back on, but glue doesn't want to hold particularly well, so still have to be extremely careful with them. Because I have had them come back off, so. We used this the first time I used the Citadel glue, and when that one came off, I tried it again with super glue, and that one just came off when I was finishing up the white. So I put it back on with Testers model glue, so hopefully it'll stay on this time. This guy happens to be one of the ones that I broke off. You can see that bubble right there. It's some dried glue. Yeah, cracked right there. So, but it seems to be holding all right now. So, we'll see how that turns out. Just trying to be extra careful with my brush strokes here. Okay. Yeah, these are guys that definitely would benefit from painting and sub-assemblies. A lot of them, it's very hard to get around things. But yeah, I guess that it's all good practice. Make you better in the long run. You know, most models you're gonna get are gonna already be in like on a sprue, so you know it doesn't come up much painting an entire finished model. But you know there are some sculpts I've seen from like China and that are one piece. I guess for stuff like that, it'd be beneficial. Okay, that's his claws. And go ahead and get him finished up and get 3 coats on all 5 of these guys. And then come back. Okay, the flesh has been painted. That'll take us to Synaptic Alloy. It says when you finish applying the last of the lead belcher, the only remaining task is to paint the faces and shrouds on the shoulders of the models with Synaptic Alloy. You'll need to paint around some areas that you've already painted, so be careful and pay close attention to the images and instructions. Okay, first we have paint the faces with Synaptic Alloy. Some of the Necron faces are obscured by flayed flesh, so be careful when painting around these details. Paint the shoulder pads and rotate the model so that you're painting towards yourself, and be careful not to paint over any of the flayed skin that you've already painted. You'll need to use the tip of your brush to paint through the holes in the flesh. Make sure you don't have too much paint on your bristles and take your time. Okay. So, this guy here. And I'll mix up some Synaptic Alloy. One, two, 3, 4. Okay, that's been pretty good. Okay, this, I think I'm actually gonna start with the detail brush. Alright. We'll start with that face. Just want to get, there's a strip here right around his eye that's not covered by flayed flesh. So just want to be careful to get that without going over the flesh. And it goes over his nose there too, and the brow right above the eye. It's very thin. So you just gotta try and be as steady as possible and take your time with it. That looks pretty good. And the area here around the mouth. And that little bit at the top of the chin there. Oh crap, I think I just got some on his claw. Or maybe not. Okay, and for the most part, the rest of his face is covered and a little bit on the top of the head here. Okay, and on the shoulder pads, I want to get around the very edge of the flesh. And then once I got that outline, I'll switch back to the zero brush. Just do the rest of it. This makes me almost miss doing Necron Warriors. Okay, I've got a little detail over on this side too. This edge is sticking out. Right there. And just go around the whole edge of it. There we go. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Get in on the other side of that strip of flesh. I've seen a little bit of gray between it there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right. Switch brushes, make things a little easier. Okay, now at this point, I do want to. It's coming right off. Want to get down on the inside of that. So like I did with the Necron Warriors, I'm just going to try and get it as flat as I can to it. And just go along it. If I don't get all the way down, I ain't going to worry too much about it. Okay, that looks pretty decent. And same thing on the other side here. And underneath shoulder pads. Yeah, this is really thin here. I mean, I did do a 4-to-1, so I think it would be a little thicker than that. Well, that's why you do 3 coats, I guess. Okay, shoulder pads are done, and actually, that's about it. You know what? Didn't do the guts. That's one thing it didn't mention, so I totally didn't even think about it. Let's see here. Yeah, looks like all that stuff is silver. So I'll just go back to that when I'm doing the touch-up, I guess. Alright, I'm going to get these 4 more just like that. And then I'll go touch up my mistakes, of which there are quite a few. Okay, the synaptic alloy has been put on, and my mistakes have been covered up. Looking pretty good right now. Okay. Next we have the playthrough for the week. Go ahead and cut just for a second and set that up. Okay, and we're back for this week's playthrough. It says destroy the Plasmacyte. The Synaptic Plasmacyte is hard at work, activating and repairing dormant damaged necrons. Siphoning off corrupted mental engrams. The Space Marines must prevent the Synaptic Plasmacyte from completing its duties. Synaptic Plasmacyte. The diminutive construct carries toxic viruses, which it injects into android brains of Necron destroyers to increase their lethality. Mission briefing. The Plasmacyte is engaged in repair routines. The Space Marines must destroy it before it can complete its task. Something else lurks nearby, however. Ravenous Necron Flayed ones have been drawn forth from their extra-dimensional realm by the prospect of flesh. Necrons devour the enemy. The Necron Flayed ones seek to devour the Space Marines. The Synaptic Plasmacyte must make use of the distraction to complete its programmed task. Space Marines eliminate the target. Despite the arrival of the flesh-hungry Flayed ones, the Space Marines must complete their objective and eliminate the Plasmacyte before more enemies arrive. Set up, lay out the large battle mat, gather your dice, range ruler, and wound markers. Set up terrain as shown in placing terrain. Set up your models as shown. Each unit must be set up in unit coherency. The Flayed ones are not set up. They will deploy during the game. Alright, we come down here to placing terrain. It says the Flayed ones are not set up on the map. Placing terrain. Place the crates and barrels in the positions indicated above. Roll a d6 to set up the container in the corresponding position. Okay, so let's roll for that container. Got a 4. So it is going up here. Okay, there is our armored container. And the barrels go... Why am I not seeing the barrels on here? Okay, that's weird. Oh, no, they're there. Right there. Okay. Alright. So the barrels are set up here. And the ammo crates are here. Okay, that looks good. And the assault intercessors on B. No sergeants. And A. Okay, and the Plasmacyte is placed on E. Data sheets and rules. This page contains new data sheets and the rules you'll need to follow in this issue's playthrough. You'll also need the rules reference section A playthrough 10 and the Space Marine datasheet from a playthrough 13. Read the new rules and datasheets below before beginning the playthrough. We have the datasheet for the Flayed ones. There are 5 of them. Movement of 5. Weapon skill 5+, ballistic skill 6+, which is fine because they have no ranged weapons. Strength and toughness of 4. 1 wound, 3 attacks, save on 4+. The weapon is Flare Claws, is a melee range weapon. Strength equals user. Armor penetration of 1. Damage of 1. Okay, abilities, dimensional translocation. In the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can set up this unit anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from an enemy. Flesh Hunger. Each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores an additional hit. Flayed ones have two unique abilities. Read the examples and refer to the abilities on their data sheets and ensure you understand them. Dimensional translocation. This unit can start the game off the tabletop. It can be deployed in the reinforcement step of any of the Necron player's movement phase. Flesh Hunger. Hit rolls of 6 in melee. Score 2 hits rather than 1. Roll the extra wound die and follow the attack sequence as normal. And the Kinetic Plasmacyte is equipped with monomolecular proboscis, and that is its weapon. Is melee range, strength user, armor penetration 1, damage 1, and the keyword fly. Okay, we'll get started here. Necrons, turn 1. Kinetic Plasmacyte darts into cover, doing its best to avoid the Space Marines. Meanwhile, the Flayed ones arrive, hungry for living flesh. And this will be the movement phase. Necron units may move. Necron reinforcements may arrive on the battlefield. Number 1, move. The air crackles and blood-drenched Flayed ones appear as if from nowhere. Reinforcements. The Flayed ones are reinforcements. In any movement phase, they can be selected and set up on the battlefield. Note that they can only be set up this way once. They cannot be set up again after they enter the battle. Set up your reinforcements using the rules on the datasheet. Reinforcement units cannot make a normal move, advance, fall back, or remain stationary this turn. Reinforcements units always count as having moved this turn. Okay, in the example, we have the Flayed ones set up 9 inches from either of the intercessor groups, and the Plasmacyte advances. So we'll start with rolling that advance for the Plasmacyte. Gets a 5. So that is a 13 with his base move of 8. So you see that is plenty of room for him to get all the way into the corner of the map here. And our Flayed ones are going to arrive on the battlefield. So, right there. There. Okay. Okay, so he's 9 or more inches away. And they will just appear in the middle of the battlefield there. Okay, now the intercessors are saying, uh-oh. Okay, Necron's turn 1 continued. The Flayed ones, hungering for the flesh of their space marine foes, hurl themselves towards the enemy. The Plasmacyte hangs back, continuing its repair duties. This will be the shoot and charge phase. Eligible units may fire their weapons. Necron units may charge if there are any Space Marine units in range. Shoot. Rematch only. The Necrons with ranged weapon may fire on Space Marine opponents, which we're not doing the rematch, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, charge. The Flayed ones rush towards the Space Marines, bladed claws whistling in the air as they sprint. Okay, in the example, the Necrons have no ranged weapons, so they do not shoot. The Flayed ones charge the unit of assault intercessors. The Necron player rolls 2 dice, requiring a 9 or more to successfully charge the assault intercessors. They roll 9. Success. Alright. Let's see if we get a charge here. 7. Okay. They fail their charge. Okay, Necron turn 1 continued. The Flayed ones fall upon the Space Marines in a frenzy of blood and violence. Their flancing claws biting into ceramite armor. You know what? For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to say they actually rolled the 9 on their charge. So we're going to go ahead and let that succeed. Otherwise, things should get pretty boring. If they fail that charge, then the assault intercessors just, between opening fire on them and charging in their chain swords, be over pretty quick. Okay, it's fight phase. Eligible units may fight. Units that charge this turn always fight first. Fight. Flancing claws lash out at the Space Marines, slicing armor and stripping flesh from bone. Okay, the Flayed ones pile in and attack. 1 intercessor is destroyed. The Necron player makes hit rolls for the Flayed ones. Each Flayed one has 3 attacks, so they roll 15 dice. Thanks to the Flayed one's flesh hunger ability, all rolls of 6 result in additional hits. The Flayed one scores 10 hits on the assault intercessors. As 2 of these hit rolls were 6s, the Flayed one scores 2 hits for a total of 12. The successful hits are resolved, and 1 assault intercessor is destroyed. The remaining assault intercessor then attacks the Flayed one. The assault intercessor attacks are resolved, and the Flayed one is destroyed. Both intercessors are touching an enemy model and cannot consolidate. Okay. Now, at this point, we only have 12 dice, so after I roll these 12, I'm going to have to roll another 3 for the 5th Flayed one. Alright. And I believe they hit on 3, yes. Okay, so we have 8 hits. The 6 is an additional hit, so that's 9. We roll that 5th attack. 10. Okay, so we got 10 hits. And their strength and toughness is equal. So they need a 4 to wound. Oh, this is not looking good. Okay, so we have 7 wounds, and I believe the intercessors, I think their save is 3. Pull up playthrough 13. Yes, 3. With the armor penetration, that makes it a 4. So they need 4s to save. Okay, looks like they only take 1 wound. Okay, now let's see. I think they're gonna pile in and attack back. Okay, and they hit on 3, and their chain sword is okay. 1 damage and 1 armor penetration. So, and they have 2 attacks. So 6 dice. Okay, they got 3 hits. Again, equal strength and toughness, so 4 to wound. Okay, 2 wounds. And the Flayed one save is 4+, and with the armor penetration is 5+. Okay, so they take 2 wounds, and they only have 1 wound. So 2 of the Flayed ones are dead. And they're going to consolidate. And they have bolt pistols, so they can shoot in engagement range. Okay, Space Marines turn 1. The Space Marines must drive the Flayed ones back and cut their way to the Kinetic Plasmacyte before its task is completed, and more Necrons join the fight. This will be the movement, shooting, charge, and fight phase. A Space Marine player now takes their turn, following the turn sequence shown to the left. Move. Assault Intercessors thunder towards the Plasmacyte. And the example, the first unit of Assault Intercessors advances 9 inches towards the Plasmacyte. The Assault Intercessors fire their heavy bolt pistols at the Flayed ones, but do not inflict any damage. The Necron player resolves the Flayed one's attacks. 1 Assault Intercessor is destroyed. The Flayed one makes a consolidation move. The remaining Assault Intercessor attacks. One flayed one is destroyed. Okay, how to win the game. Keep playing the game by going back to the Necron's turn 1 and following the instructions. The Space Marine player wins the game if the Kinetic Plasmacyte is destroyed by the end of the Necron turn 4. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me keep that one out. Okay, so that first group is going to advance. Their move, I believe, is 5. 6. Okay, so 6 plus 5, 11. They're going to advance 11 inches. They figure the other squad has the flayed ones under control. They're going for this Plasmacyte. Okay, shoot. The loud reports of heavy bolt pistols echo through the gloom. Shoot with each eligible unit. And I believe they only have 1 die for the bolt pistol. Yes, it has strength of 4. Okay. But it does have armor penetration of 1, so. Ooh. And their ballistic skill is 3, so that is 1 hit. 1 wound. Oh, saved. Okay. Now, I think they are... No, they can't charge. Well, it doesn't matter because they're already in engagement range. Okay, so I guess the Necrons would get their counterattack now. Okay, 3 of them left, so we have 9 dice. That was a 3. Okay, they score 6 hits. Ooh. 5 wounds. Okay, they need a 4 or better to save. Ooh. Ooh, they only got 1 save. That is most unfortunate. Okay. 2 of them die. Okay, but it is now his turn to attack. He gets 1 hit. No wound. Okay. That's not good. Alright, Flayed one's turn again. Oof. Okay, so 7, 8, 9. Is it 4 to wound? Yes. Okay, 3 wounds. 3 saves. Excellent. Our intercessor survives another day. Alright, now he's going to swing back with his chainsword. Get 2 hits. And 1 wound. Most dramatic roll ever. And of course, a save. Okay. Intercessor's turn. This is their turn 2 now. And they don't want to advance because they still want to be able to shoot. So, move them up 6. And that is well within the 18 inches of the bolt pistol's range. So they are going to fire the Plasmacyte. Only one hit. Ooh. Plasmacyte's toughness is 5. So they need a 5 to wound. And they get it. Its save is 4+. The pistol does have armor penetration. So it's going to need a 5. And that is not a 5. And the Plasmacyte only has 1 wound, so it is dead. At this point, the Space Marines have completed their objective. But they're not satisfied just yet. They're going to charge these Flayed ones here if they can reach. And a 10, I believe, will do it. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then they're going to pile in. Let's see here. Yeah, so he can get right there. Just so he can attack all 3 of them. Okay. We got 6 hit dice. Attack them with their chain swords. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. And 3 wounds. And no saves. Okay, so we have 3 wounds. Huh, and the Flayed ones only have 1 wound, so dead. Dead. And dead. Okay, and there you have it. The Assault Intercessors have emerged victorious. And we will be back next week with another issue. I believe it's another 5 Assault Intercessors. And then the following week is another shipping container set. And the Necron Technomancer. And the last shipping container. Alright, we'll see you then.